Hi everyone, welcome back to my craft space. I've been planning all kinds of things for Valentine's Day, and so you can see I've got actually several projects laid out here that I'm going to show you for Valentine's Day. In this video, we'll be doing 5 projects, and then I have others that I'm getting ready to come up before Valentine's Day. So be sure to subscribe so you know when new videos are coming out and new projects are coming out of my craft space. And so also I want to tell you about a little booklet that I've put together with 14 Valentine's Day fun ideas for the whole family, plus 5 romantic ideas for couples. It's got a couple of games. It's got some ideas for homemade Valentines, and you can access that in our Facebook group. It's called Coming Home, and you can join, it's a private group, you can join that group, and in the files section you'll find this to download for free, as well as some other files that I've put in there for the new year. And so let's get started. So for our first project, we're going to use this wooden sign that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I've gone ahead and just painted the top a nice gray color, and this is a Waverly paint called Silver Lining. And I did actually 3 coats. I did a first coat of white and then 2 coats of the gray, and then I used my hand sander to sand between each coat just so it's smooth, so that the vinyl will stick down a little bit better. This is a Cricut project, and I went ahead and I've already had my vinyl cut so that we're ready for this. So this is a design that I created in Cricut Design Space, and I'm also using this permanent glossy Cricut vinyl. Both of these are, this one's a Cricut vinyl, this pretty blush pink color. This is from Paper Studio at Hobby Lobby. And then of course we've got some transfer tape and our regular Cricut tools. And so I'm going to go ahead and get this first project weeded, and we'll jump right into our Valentine's Day projects. Now, while we're just here, I want to ask the question and comment below in the comment section. If you could do anything and know that you would not fail, what would you do? And for me, this YouTube channel is one of those things. Of course, I could fail, but I wanted to try this, and it was a decision that I made actually with one of my daughters, because as you know, as many of you know, I have a daughter with disabilities, and so it's become very apparent that now that she is an adult, so she's out of school, that you can't really work 9 to 5 and care for someone with disabilities like that. And we're planning for the future when, you know, maybe I may not be able to care for her anymore. And so my daughter and I, that's why we're doing this channel and some other things online, because we've got to think out of the box for how to support without working 9 to 5. And so that's why we do this. And so I'm hoping that this can be successful in the way that we can then work from home without having to go to a 9 to 5 job. So that's why we do this. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? Or what would you do if you're in a situation that might be a little bit unique? What kinds of things would you do if you knew you could be successful at it? Okay. So this first project is very simple, but I had this idea one night and thought, oh, this might end up being really pretty. And I really wanted it on that gray background rather than just white. Going. So make comments below about things you've learned, things you would try. Let me pull it around this way because I can't really see where that dot is. There we go. And so easy to weed. It's kind of fun when the words you're putting in there are so big, because then it becomes really easy and really pretty fun to weed. There. Now when I designed this in Cricut Design Space, I put the heart there and did the letters, and then what I did is I created, oh dear, I created an offset to kind of cut out that part. I wonder if that will be big enough. That's not quite big enough, so let me just cut another piece of our transfer tape. Now I really like this transfer tape. It's like big, huge masking tape, and it just lasts and lasts and lasts, and you can reuse, and I like that. And I use this transfer tape when I'm putting a vinyl cut on something I have painted, because one of the problems with putting vinyl on a painted surface is sometimes when you pull the transfer tape up, it pulls up paint. But when you're using a light tack transfer tape like this one, it doesn't pull up the paint, and so that's why I like using this particular transfer tape on this kind of a project. And maybe comment below some of your plans, some of the things you're creating for Valentine's Day. I always really loved Valentine's Day, and part of that is because when I was a child, where I lived, it was always very cold and snowy on Valentine's Day, and I loved the snow, but also we would generally make sugar cookies. Let me just make sure that's laying correctly. We would make sugar cookies and then and decorate them, and then we'd run around to our friends and leave a cookie wrapped up or on a plate on their doorstep and ring the doorbell and run. So for me, Valentine's Day was the holiday where you got to go sneaking around and ringing doorbells and running, and it was, you know, okay. So those are some of my happiest memories from Valentine's Day. And it was so cold, so we would be, you know, in our boots and coats and all bundled up and running around and sneaking these treats to people we loved. And sometimes it was fun to come home from school and see what Mom had made to take to neighbors and friends for Valentine's Day. Okay, very simple. That's our first project. Just a heart with the word family. Very easy to create in Cricut Design Space with just a basic heart, your offset, and then your lettering. And so there you go, first project done. Okay, for our second project, I'm going to use this wooden heart, and like the previous project, I went ahead and painted it white. I used a Waverly white chalk paint, and then I used my hand sander between coats, and I did 2 coats on this one. And so we're going to do a cut from vinyl that I found in Cricut projects. I think it was in either the projects or the images. And we're just going to go ahead and put this on there. And it's going to be a little bit tricky and it'll test my skills that I've been learning while I've been, you know, learning to use my Cricut machine. Okay, I'm going to show you what to do with this error, because when I pulled it off, I didn't catch that. And then I went back through and I looked through my scraps and could not find that part of the T. But I certainly can't leave it that way. So I'm going to show you how I can go ahead and print just that one letter in Design Space. So I went back into Cricut Design Space to my original cut pattern. And what I'm going to do is select contour. And then once that whole file comes up, I'm going to do hide all contours. And then I'm just going to click on that T. And it looks like it's not hiding. And let me get these others that for some reason just aren't hiding. But we're okay. I want that T to be showing. So then when I go back into the space, I still have the T there. I don't know why these didn't hide, but let's go ahead and do something about that. So I'm going to bring in a shape, and I'm going to unlock it and just drag it over those parts that I still don't want. I want to just have the T. That's what's going to cut next. And then when I highlight that, I can do slice. And it's going to take out those parts that I don't want. And I can just delete all three. Now I've just got the T. It's going to show just that T. So then I can go ahead and cut just that one letter, and it's correctly sized because I took it right from the same cut file. Okay, so all I need is just a small piece of vinyl here. And let's go ahead and get that one letter cut. The reason I'm going through this, instead of just throwing this out and saying, you know, pretending this didn't happen. The reason I'm showing you this is because I want to show you there are ways to correct your errors without going to a whole lot of trouble and time, that it really is a pretty easy fix. And I'm leaving that one there until I get the new one, and then I'm just going to use this to help me line up the new T, and then I'll take off that part, and then we're ready to get our transfer tape and get this put right onto our heart-shaped board. So that was a really fast cut. And that whole time to correct this error, to go back into Design Space and get that done, I don't know, that took me maybe 1 minute to get that done. So let's go ahead and get this new T put on there. And just keep in mind, you know, errors happen. And I would say they probably happen a lot more often when you're new at this, which, you know, I'm still fairly new. But as time goes on, I get better and better at this. And I'm just going to use that as my lineup. And I'm treating this kind of like a sticker. Pull off my old T, put my new one down, and we're good to go. Do you see how easy that was to correct that little problem? Okay, then what I'm going to do, because this is large and I don't want the transfer tape to kind of fold, or the transfer paper, I guess I should call it that. I don't want it to fold back on itself. I'm going to just pull it back a little ways, and in fact, what I'll do is fold back the paper so it's not rolling back up. And then I can just pull this back and lay it down as I pull back. And then we have a nice coverage of that tape. Now I'm going to save the paper that came on so that I can reuse, because this is a large piece, and I can just reuse it and slowly be cutting it down as I go. So I'm going to really push that down and hopefully get every little bit moved. And we'll do that on both sides. Okay, and then let's see how that comes up. Pulling that off. Oh, so far it's going really well. I'm watching my backing here, because it's easier to see if something comes up. It's easier to watch here for some little bit of pink than to watch here and make sure every little piece came through. I'm seeing my T is just fine there. Watching for little bits of pink. And then I go back and check, and that is completely clear, so I know I got all of those bits pulled up. Okay, so now let's get our heart. And let's get that put right on it. Now we're going down. I think if I was going to do this again, I wouldn't cut the heart shape. I would just have all of the words there. And then I think it would be a little bit easier to position that, because obviously my heart in my cut file was not quite the same shape as this heart. So if my mistakes help you, that's great. So yeah, when you do it, leave the words all out. Don't cut it into a heart shape. I think that would be a better way to keep it. Let me cut this off. To keep it from not being exactly the same shape in your cut file. But it's not, I'm seeing it's not exact. So I hope my mistakes help you have an easier time making this project. So you'll do it a little bit differently than I've done it, so that yours comes out perfect. There we go. It's looking better there. There we go. Now, just as a note, I actually could go back into Design Space and reprint maybe Sweetheart. That's the one that kind of, obviously the heart on the other one narrowed in here a lot more. So I could go ahead and reprint that and redo just that word, and that would be perfectly fine. But for now, we're going with that. One last thing is I'm going to just make a real simple hanger for this. And I'm going to get some pretty ribbon that I like and roll this up so it's in a point, so I can feed it through that tiny little hole and pull that through. And actually, this is a good time to use your weeding tool for another. Oh, actually, what I should do is use my dollar store weeding tool, because it's not as sharp. Its point is more rounded. So I'm going to do that and then use that less sharp tool to kind of push that through that tiny little hole. Pull it through on this side. There we go. There. Now I'm going to turn it so that the pretty side stays up like this. Let me trim that up. I'm actually going to go ahead and use my tape runner. Get some two-sided tape on that ribbon. And stick that together. There. And then, so that the overlap is hidden, and then all I see is that pretty ribbon. And then it can go ahead and hang on a door or wherever you'd like it to. Okay, let's move on to our next project. I'm really excited about our next project because I'm going to use my brand new Easy Press that I got for Christmas, and I'm pretty excited about that. We're using a Paper Studio iron-on vinyl in this pink, and we're going to use a Smart Iron-on glitter vinyl from Cricut. I have this tote bag that I got at Hobby Lobby, and then I've got my things that I've already cut out on my Cricut. So we're just going to weed up all of these hearts. I've got my Easy Press heating up, and so I'm pretty excited about this. Now you'll see as I pull this up, there are some spots that it appears that my hearts are missing, but I really like that offset feature in Cricut Design Space. And so same thing with this that I did on the other one. I've got some words that are going to go in that space. And so if you see hearts missing, it's because that's where the words are going. And so this tote bag is, I was thinking when I was a teacher, you know, the kids would come to school with all of their Valentines. And so this is a little tote bag that kids could bring to school and carry all their Valentines to school. We set that to the side. And then at the end of the school day, they could take their Valentines home in this very same tote bag. And so I thought this would be a really fun idea for kids to carry their Valentines around in. So, and I love this glitter vinyl. Glitter can be so messy. I mean, I spent years as a school teacher cleaning up glitter, and so I know it can get a little bit everywhere, but this is just such an easy way to do glitter. I have to kind of appreciate that because it makes life just so much easier when you're trying to use glitter. So I really like this. Before we press, I'm going to put down my ironing pad. Hopefully the ironing pad will help mitigate that. I don't know. We'll see. Let's go. Let's try it. At this moment, I'm thinking it might be kind of nice to have my iron so I could get into that little tiny space. I guess this is where, I'm going to try to push that into that corner. I guess this is where people use the little handheld Easy Press thing. I brought in my daughter's little tiny iron to see if I could get it into some of those spaces and get this vinyl to adhere, because it just really is not... it's sticking down on the parts where it's flat, where the Easy Press was able to go. But I'm having trouble with any area where there was a ridge. I'm going to keep this to show you because, you know, I'm always experimenting. And because this is real, you know, I want to show you maybe what works and what doesn't. So I was pretty excited about this canvas bag, but it is difficult to get it to adhere. Okay, that's definitely better. So let me get this positioned on here. Okay, let's move this down so I can fit it on there. Okay, 30 seconds. I'm hoping that the glitter part goes down a little easier than the hearts did, but we always have our little iron to get into the little spaces if we need to. So we're going to let that cool, and then we'll do our final reveal of our Valentine bag. Okay, so let's see how this comes. Oh, ooh, oh, that's nice. Oh. Okay, so that went down really well. That looks really nice. I love that. It looks pretty with the pink hearts. It was a little bit of a challenge because of the bumps in the bag, but I think it has turned out okay. And I think that's really a pretty cute little tote bag. Okay, while I have my Cricut press and the iron and everything else sitting right here, let's go ahead and do one other project using my heat press. And I'm kind of excited to try this. I have a dear friend whose daughter just had a baby, and so I thought it would be fun to create a cute little t-shirt for the baby. Okay, so those are going to go together like that. So I think I will lay down the crown for the princess first. So here's this cute little onesie that I got at Hobby Lobby. I'm just gonna lay that out and try to miss seams like we did last time. Okay, so first I'm going to go ahead and heat this up for just a few seconds here. Okay. All right, let's see if we can get that down. All right, so I'm holding it at 285 for 30 seconds. All right, so now we'll let that cool. I'll move it off of the pad so it can cool a little faster, and then we will get ready to put on the rest of the words. Okay, so let's see how that came out. Oh, boy, I really do like this iron-on glitter. I really like that. Oh, that came out so nicely. Okay, so now the rest of the words here. Line that up. Okay. Now this says it's 315 for 30 seconds with light pressure. So I'm just gonna kind of let that be right there. Okay, so let's peel those off. Take that one back off. That's down really nicely. And let's see how, oh, much better, much better. So I just think that is super cute, very pretty. So it says the princess has arrived. I think that's super cute. Okay, let's clean up and go on to our next project. Let's see what our materials are for this last project. It's my favorite of all of them. So I got a couple of boards. They were just plain wood at Hobby Lobby. These were rectangles, but I cut them off at a 40-degree angle and I measured distances and everything and drilled a hole in each one. And so then I took my Waverly chalk paint in white and one in crimson, and I painted the boards 2 different colors. It took 3 coats, and between each coat, after it dried, I went ahead and sanded it with my hand sander so that they'd be smooth enough that the vinyl would adhere well. I have a couple of different cut pieces from the vinyl. I'm using this blush pink Paper Studio permanent vinyl that I've used for several of the other projects today. I love that color. And then I've also used this glittery black smart vinyl from Cricut. I also have on hand some colorful brads or grommets. And then we're going to use a couple of different sizes of buffalo check ribbon and some jute twine. All right, so we're going to get started. Let's work on our white one first. Okay, so even though this shimmer smart vinyl is really hard to deal with, I think, because first off, it didn't cut very well, and now I've really struggled to, I was really struggling to get it to stick to the transfer paper. I'm going to save that, but finally I got it on. Okay, so there's that, and then I'm going to go ahead and use this one and get it lined up as best we can. I'm trying to position it, you know, space it the same between the others and line it up this way. So I'm just going to tip it up, take a look, and hope that hope that looks straight to you too. Okay, so then let's just pull that up. And there. Okay, so I like how that looks with the hearts and the X's and O's. And okay, there's that. Now let's go on to our red one. And this one is the one that I really, this is the part of it that I think is really kind of fun and Valentine-y. And okay. So we've got some hearts. And there we go. There we go. There we go. That actually weeded really nicely. I really am pretty happy with this Paper Studio vinyl. I like how easily it weeds. It cuts really nicely. I'm still kind of figuring out how I feel about the smart vinyls, just because the paper backing is really heavy, and I think sometimes that makes it a little bit tricky for transferring. Okay, all right, I like that. So I'm going to use my same piece of transfer paper. Looks like that'll work pretty well. Let's get that pushed down. Okay. Now, like with the other one, I'm going to keep my eye on the white backing because it's easier to see if a piece gets pulled up, gets lost, if I'm looking on white than looking here with all of the other pink things. Okay, so let's turn this. And just going to set it down. I think that looks good. Okay. Huh. Okay. And I'm seeing that as I pull up this transfer paper, that it's getting quite a bit of paint smudging on it, and I'm hoping that didn't pass through, so I'm not going to reuse that. Okay, and then I'm just going to come back through and push down some of the little spots. I love that. I think that's so cute. So these are going to go together. They're going to hang together. So I'm going to take some twine and some thin buffalo check ribbon, and I'm just going to pull off a length and kind of gauge how long I want these to be, how low I want my tags to hang. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and, oh, I forgot one thing. One thing that I was kind of excited about doing, I've got these colorful brads. So on the whiteboard, I want to push into that hole, and I measured the brads before I drilled the hole, so I know what size of drill bit to use. So I like that. It just adds this extra little bit of pretty. And then on this one, I think I'm going to kind of match the black in the X's and O's, and I'm going to push that into that hole. There we go. All right. I like that. I think that's really pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to thread this through that brad and get out my dollar store weeding tool that's not so sharp. So actually this weeding tool, I don't like it for weeding because the end is too rounded. It's not sharp enough. But it sure helps to push things through small holes. Okay, so on the back then, I'm going to just go through and tie a nice big knot to keep it from pulling back through. So I'm going to do that around a few times. So I've got a big knot there. There. And then if I kind of pull it on this side, that'll tighten it up. Okay. And to trim off that end. Okay, and now I'm going to come and do the very same thing in the other board. Get that off-centered. Okay, and now I'm going to tie my bow. Let's see if I can get this in the frame better. I'm going to tie my bow around those, keeping those there. There. And this will still be able to slide through the bow and you know, get it, you can, so you'll still be able to position it. There we go. And I think this is going to be real pretty hanging on my front door with a wreath or on a doorknob. We'll see. Okay, there. And then I can just kind of fiddle with that bow, make it look cute. But then in the end, that's how it'll be hanging on my door. Let's move things out of the way so you can see. And so that's how that project will hang on the door. I really like that. I think that's my favorite one of the day. Alrighty, so I will put links below for the products I've used, and so that you can go to them easily and find them. And be sure to go to Coming Home in Facebook, and then you can download free my little book of Valentine ideas, romantic ideas for mom and dad, a couple of games, some ideas for homemade Valentines. And be sure to subscribe because I have other Valentine videos coming out, some with homemade Valentines for kids, food that you can make to celebrate Valentine's Day. And so subscribe so that you'll know when a new video comes out. And if you have comments, please comment below and share this video. And I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time for more Valentine ideas.